Our next guest is very special, Dr. Dinah Mindo, and she's leading in the Philippines. She's leading the character-based education program. And just this morning, I was emailing with Man Rentoy in the Philippines, and we've just signed an agreement to have CEP Philippines. And we're not exactly sure what that means, but we just want to share research and knowledge and trainings and things. So part of the vision would be that maybe we can do this with other countries. We just have got something going. So we'll let Dr. Dinah share with us some of the things she's thinking, and it'll help me learn too about how we proceed.
Thank you very much, Mark. Good morning. I'm going to share to you what we're doing in the Philippines in terms of teachers and principals, leadership development, professional development. And may I start by giving you some statistics in terms of how many schools, elementary and secondary, we have in the Philippines. So the Philippine government schools or public schools are scattered in the almost 7,100 islands. Don't ask me whether it's high tide or low tide. in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. And so these are located in mountains, hills, valleys, cities, coastal areas, where there are children to be provided basic education. Because just like all countries in the world, it is the right of every Filipino or every child to be provided with quality, equitable, culture-based, and complete basic education. That's why in the Philippines, we are adding 2 more years to make it 12 years of basic education. So for school year 2013 to 2014, we have 46,137 elementary schools, 12,670 secondary schools, or a total of 68,807 elementary and secondary schools, and that would mean that we have the same number of school heads and principals in all these elementary and secondary schools. But we are not starting from top, we are starting from the bottom. And our elementary schools in the public schools are either incomplete or complete. I know this is also true with other countries. Incomplete because they have only grades 1 to 4 or grades 1 to 2, and we also have multi-grade schools composed of only 2 grades, 4 grades, or there are those with only one teacher school teaching all grade levels from grade 1 to grade 6. So see how difficult it is. And since we're talking about professional leadership development programs, there are generally 2 types of these development programs for teachers, and they are staff development. And in this staff development, to differentiate it from in-service education or training, it is the teacher's decision to grow and develop on the job, and to renew concepts and to update himself or herself. So this is something teachers do for themselves. Decisions whether to attend training programs, whether it's division, regional or national or even international, is a personal decision of the teacher if he or she wants to grow professionally. So in other words, he's willing to spend his or her own money just to grow professionally. To differentiate it from in-service education or training, in the Philippine schools now, this is the responsibility of the school principal or the school head. Because this, one of the responsibilities of the school principal is to provide training for his or her teachers. But this in-service education is to respond to discovered deficiencies. And this is about skills that they need to be developed because it has been based through observation by principals, and not only principals, but also by supervisors and schools superintendents. One of the unique projects which we have implemented last year, it's now 1 year old, is what we call Project Heart, which means humane, H is for humane, E is for exemplary, A is for altruistic, altruistic love is the highest form of love, R is for righteous, and T is for teachers. And this just came from the blue because the schools division superintendent of one schools division in the National Capital Region, and that's Malabon, where there is always flood, approached me and asked my assistance in preparing a training program for teachers because he observed, and it's not only his observation, but observation of almost all administrators in the Department of Education, is that the new generation of teachers that we have now are no longer committed, no longer dedicated. And so this training program was to address that problem that we have at present. And so this is the background, that teaching most importantly requires self-sacrifice, commitment, and love for children. And these are the exact words of our current secretary, Armin Luestro, when he talked to the teachers in one of his fora. Because there are many training programs which we are being conducted by the department, whether it's in the district level, division, regional, or national, and they are all focused on updating teachers' competencies in teaching and updating them on content. And recently in the Philippines, all the training programs are focused on how to implement the K-12 curriculum in all the learning areas. But we don't have any training focus on values formation of teachers. So this training program, which I consider to be in-service training because it is specifically for addressing that problem that our teachers need to be more committed and dedicated to teaching. And that means that they have to be dedicated in teaching their children, and which means that they have to love their children or the learners. So the purpose of this training is to help school teachers inculcate and develop a culture of heart. And my companion here from Malaysia said that education without heart is nothing. And so here we are inculcating the culture of heart of the teachers. But we are just starting with one school division. So the objective is to heighten and strengthen commitment and dedication of teachers, and we have specific objectives. But I'm not going to read all the specific objectives because I'm given only 15 minutes. But this includes all the content of the training, which was I think it was a 4 to 5 days training, but we shortened it to 4 because we had evening sessions up to 9 o'clock or not, up to 10 after dinner. So these were our specific objectives. So it's a 5-day live-in training using adult learning or experiential learning. The use of the 4 A's. The first A is activity, giving activities to after the teachers are grouped. Then after the activity, they will analyze whatever they have come up in terms of answers to the challenge. Then the third is abstraction, and the fourth, application. And I think it is in the last 2 parts, abstraction and application, that the creativity of the teachers will be developed as their values are being formed, because this is one kind of values formation training. So these are some of the photos. We have photos online, and maybe you can, you have our website, the Global Peace Philippines Project Heart. So you will see that the teachers are being grouped. They are given challenges. So there are still groups of teachers. This is one of the facilitators. So still examples of what the teachers did. And as a matter of fact, they were allowed to use Filipino to express themselves so that they will be able to really let out, pour out their sentiments, their feelings, and that there were teachers who cried because they realized that they did not treat their students and pupils fairly. They did not show their love. And so sometimes we also feel how they feel because they cry and they realize that they are failures, and that during this one of the photos, is there group, they were grouped into many groups. This part of the, may we go to the closing ceremony. After the 4-day training, we had a closure with the presence of the mayor of Malabon, because this training was funded by the city government of Malabon, the school's division superintendent. So I want to add that it's not only the principals who can transform schools. More than the school principal, it is the school superintendent, because this was the idea of the school's division superintendent. He was the one who had this idea of what to do to heighten, to strengthen, to improve the commitment and dedication of teachers. Because as mentioned by Dr. Tony Divine, that teachers are the most important factor in character education. And so we included their teachers must be exemplary. They must be model in terms of what values and character traits they want their learners to learn and to internalize, and that they must be applied. That's why in the work text that we are preparing, I'm just inserting this, in Filipino, we say application is isa gawa, isa buhay. They have to live it every day in their lives. So we have portion, the last parts of our work text we're preparing is isa gawa, isa buhay. And then looking beyond what they can do to extend what they learned in classrooms to the community. Because we believe that if the community, through the school governing council of its elementary and secondary schools in the public schools, will help build the children in the future, these children will build their respective communities. And that's what we are now implementing in most of the schools in the Philippines, public, elementary, and secondary schools. That's why we are partnering with CAP in the Philippines, because Mr. Rentoy is working in the university. Because we feel that it must not only focus on basic education from kinder to grade 12, but then it must be continued in college. That's why we're very happy that one of the professors of PUP and UP, I don't know whether they're here, they are approaching me to help them what to do, because in college, they don't have values education anymore if they are not majoring in values education or if they are not taking education. And so our plan is to link first with teacher training institutions, because they are the ones producing the future teachers. And these teachers who will be hired by the Department of Education must be value-laden, because they cannot teach what they don't have. They cannot teach character education and values education if they are not models of good character and values. So we believe strongly in that, because so even if I'm retired, I'm offering myself to Global Peace Foundation Philippines. I want to retire after 6 years working with them, but then I have not yet developed somebody who will take my place. So may I end up with giving you one more new concept that we're having in school-based management in public schools, and this is the professional learning community. It's a learning community composed of teachers in school, the principals, and for high schools, we have support staff, and also officers of the school governing council, the parents, the retirees, the alumni, and then all those external stakeholders of education in the community. They will form a learning group, and they will learn together and continuously improve personally and professionally. And I hope that this program will be successful because it is only the hope for the Philippines to rise up from where we are now. And I don't want to mention where we are now, you know that very well. So with this, I hope that you learned some insights on what to do with teachers who lack commitment and dedication. Thank you very much.